Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, Brian Von Vier, your favorite narrator and voice actor from Ohio. How's everybody doing? I have another doozy for all of you ladies and gents out there. What are some cool, funny character ideas you always wanted but never got to play? Part 2. A metal-loving bard with a homebrew class made by me, which has 5 main class abilities. Symphony of Destruction. Thunder, 60-foot range, no big deal. Through the fire and flames, oh, I know where this is going. The power to make a willing creature a literal juggernaut. That means immune to charming, frightening, grappling, poisoning, pruning, and stunning. The max duration is 5 minutes, but if I suffer damage and fail a 15 DC Constitution saving throw, the spell will forcefully end, and me and the target will be deafened for 1 hour. Raining blood. A cumulus of red clouds forms above me and my party starts raining blood that heals 1d4 per round to all my allies. It lasts for 3 rounds, but if a drop is mixed with water, the rain is forcefully ended. Awaken, my favorite. I can perform Awaken, a Deathlock song, for 5 minutes in an area where dead humanoids lie, such as a graveyard, crypt, or battlefield. I can only perform in this way at night. At the end of my performance, I make a DC 10 Charisma performance check. The DC for this check increases by 5 if the newest body in the area has been there for over 100 years. The DC increases by 5 if me or my allies were responsible for the deaths of humanoids in the area. Finally, if the humanoids in the area were evil, the DC increases by 5. On a successful check, ghosts of humanoids in the area rise from their resting place. Greatly based on a necromantic homebrew class. TLDR, reanimate dead by performing for 5 minutes. Hell awaits. For every minute I perform, I can hide one secret phrase that only my party will understand. However, every time I say a hidden phrase, every other creature that can hear me makes an insight check contested by my deception check. If it succeeds, the creature understands the message. If it succeeds in understanding 4 messages during my performance, it learns the code and automatically understands the next messages, be it the same performance or not. TLDR, hiding messages in songs. I normally play via Discord, so I arrange the music bot to play the corresponding song when I use them. RIP Groovy/Rhythm 2021. A friend and I were going to play Centaur Brothers. We were going to be the most ridiculously aristocratic-style British centaurs, wearing straw boater hats and the fantasy equivalent of cricket whites. I was to be a bard who played the clarinet. He was to be a wizard who used our ancestral family teapot to cast tea-based, or should that be flavored, spells. I like that. Then we revealed things that caused our DM to break and put his foot down. One was our side hustle. We were going to be lawyers fighting for the rights of horses, holding rallies in stables to inspire the horses to stand up for their rights and to end their servitude, though we would speak in common and the horses wouldn't understand. Our names were Percival and Tarquin Hoofer, and our law firm was to be called Hoofer and Hoofer Centaurs at Law. I'm dead. We would hand out business cards at every chance we got. We were also planning to try and RP our way out of any combat by suggesting we all sat down to have afternoon tea and would proceed to bring out the family tea set. Then there was our family motto, the motto that broke our DM and was the last nail in the coffin for this idea. Some of us are great, some of us are terrible, but we are all half horse. QRDM yelling, "That's not a motto, that's just a description of centaurs!" Rip Hoofer Brothers, an idea too beautiful to live. I have a ton of ideas for this that I'm hoping I do actually get to play one day. This will probably get buried though, but oh well. A cleric that was in several medical jobs, most prominently an army medic, before becoming a mercenary because he was fired from all his jobs for making use of necromancy to save patients too far gone. A draconic ancestry ice sorcerer that is trying to find where her powers came from. The only lead she has is that her mom told her they came from her dad. Basically, just a min-max sorcerer to show off with meta magic because I've never played a sorcerer but using cold spells instead of the usual fire because ice is cool. Pun intended. A college of eloquence bard with the highest deception and persuasion possible. He hopes, once he's perfected his art, to return to his hometown and lead a rebellion against the corrupt people in power there and take control of the town. For the benefit of himself, though. I thought about making this an evil character that uses his words more than anything else to get his way. A warlock that signed a pact with a lawful evil entity to get his family healed of an incurable disease, but at the cost of him committing atrocities for the entity. He uses his powers for good as much as the entity allows, and is now on the road to prevent the entity from making him hurt his own family. Thought of this to play around with morality and because warlocks have so much story potential. A ranger that uses a great sword or another big weapon that you can only hold one of. They're a very jovial large person that's extremely sweet and kind. Think Baymax from Big Hero 6. That is an ex-assassin, one of the best in the lands, but they don't like to talk about that. A Leonin fighter that was heir to the Pride leader. She had spent her entire life training to become Pride leader, but had her whole Pride killed when she was in her youth. She is now a mercenary that does group contracts in hopes of finding a new Pride to lead. Slight spin on the "my family died and now I'm an orphan" story. Hope anyone seeing this enjoys these. Feel free to play them if you like. I probably won't get around to playing all of them. Hey, with that attitude, no one will. Go out there and play these characters, they're great. I've been waiting for this one. The idea is a Kenku artificer named Discovery, attempting to break his people's curse. The Kenkus were cursed to be bound to the ground, had their creativity taken away, and were cursed to not be able to speak. That was that until Discovery comes in. See, he realized early on that he could use the gold he stole to fuel his inventions and use those to get what he needed in a safer and more consistent fashion. And after a while, he began to realize the full potential of what technology could do. The first item he made was a translator necklace and infusion, get past his own language barrier. And that's so far 2/3 of the base is covered, or 1/3 if you don't count the translator as actually talking. In that case, however, the tongue spell will later come into play. The last is flight, and where most of the interesting part comes in. To invent, he needs to make a luck check to see if the item simply breaks down or fails for no reason, completely non-fixable. One that constantly fails is a fine glittering powder, essence of flight, like the dust from Tinkerbell. If this works, he wants to mass produce it one day and eventually look for a way to break the curse completely. I've never had the opportunity to play D&D, but I have an idea for a dwarven fighter who starts out as a blacksmith and is married to an elf whom he saved and lives with her and her daughter. Since he makes all sorts of weapons and tools, he has his own brand on everything he has made. So his start is that after coming home from collecting materials on the nearby mountains, he sees smoke coming from his house and finds that it has been brutally attacked by an unknown force with everything stolen except for a single sword that is plunged into his wife's chest. His masterpiece that he sold years ago to a wealthy elven noble right before he met his wife. After seeing his own craftsmanship become the instrument of his wife's death, he vows to never make or wield another weapon and instead takes up his forging equipment that was discarded. With that, he sets off in search of the ones who killed his wife and took his precious daughter. I plan on making him a loner pacifist person who you need to gain his trust. I also want him to continue making things for the party as long as he believes they will do what is right. He will play a guardian role, and I want to do a multi-class with paladin at some point with the vow of vengeance when he discovers the identity of his wife's murderer. I hope you take him with some mercy, as he is my first character idea, and I really want to put him into action. And I will gladly accept any ideas you nice folks have about him. Hey, I just wanted to say, I love dwarvish characters, and we don't see too many of them, but that character is something that I really would love to not only play, but have in my party too. I've yet to have a chance to play D&D, but I have this overly elaborate idea for a double character, a mute goblin merchant homebrew class I found online named Feather, and his adopted brother, a large Kenku named Gobo, with the curious ability to read his brother's mind. This idea being that since Kenku can perfectly mimic anything that they can hear, then theoretically speaking, if he hears his brother's inner thoughts, he can mimic them out, basically becoming his brother's mouthpiece. I haven't decided on a class for the Kenku yet, and would likely put them on the chaotic neutral side of things. Backstory-wise, when he was still incredibly young, Feather's parents were complete idiots, who decided to raid a heavily guarded caravan by themselves, pulling him in with them. Needless to say, his parents were killed, and in the chaos, he suffered a severe wound that, combined with the trauma of parental murder, left him mute. Before being killed himself, the head of the caravan, an eccentric and very successful merchant, stopped the knights from killing the young goblin and decided to take him home. The curious man had a bizarre habit, it seems, for taking in young non-humans and raising them as his own, especially weird ones. This is how Feather would end up at the merchant's mansion and eventually meet Gobo. The two would become as close as brothers and soon learn of their mind-reading quirk. The young goblin, inspired by his adopted father's kindness towards others, as well as being able to taste the finer things in life for the first time, aspired to be like the man who saved his life, to become a rich and powerful merchant, able to take in others while also never having to resort to living the life his parents did. Gobo, to has a dream, as a giant flightless bird, he wishes for little more than to be able to fly through the skies as birds should, to travel the world. This brings us to the reason they ultimately join whatever party they do, a quest to amass as much money as they possibly can and track down a master airship craftsman, one that can build for them the largest fortified airship they could possibly design, a small town in the sky. Their ultimate goal is to build a flying merchant's caravan and guild, one that travels the world selling goods and wares while giving protection to those that live within its walls, trading rarities from all over the globe. Of course, Gobo intends to be the one flying it, and that will be one happy bird. Hey everybody, Brian Von Vier here, checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, to subscribe, and to ring that bell to get notified whenever we post a new video or in case we go live. Speaking of going live, check us out on Twitch, and make sure to leave a little bit of love on our subreddit r/MrRipper, where you can show us all the stories that you would like us to hear, read, or just simply exist with. And if you want more content, check us out on Riptovia, our secondary channel with a lot of different content, not just D&D related, but more TTRPG related. Links are in the description below. Using a help action, come say hi to your boy me, Brian Von Vier, over on Twitch and on YouTube. That being said, I always try to end things on a positive note, and today's no different. I just kind of wanted to say, with all the character ideas I've been reading here, I'm really impressed with your imaginations. Honestly, a lot of you have some really cool ideas, and I'm sorry that you haven't been able to play all of them due to timing or lack of friends or anything, but there's always going to be someone out there who wants to not only hear these ideas, like me, or see them in play. Now, I love unique ideas, so never, 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 never let your imagination die. No matter what happens in the world, no matter who likes you or who doesn't, never let that imagination, that the inner child you have, don't let it go ever. Just keep it on in there and keep making cooler and cooler characters. All the love, everybody. Be safe, be happy, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.